Hi everyone, and welcome to another episode of Wellness Day, a podcast coming to you every Wednesday here from the Jahangir Wellness Center. My name is Qabaz Jahangir, and here, as you can see, we're talking from our new JWC studio here at Viman Nagar. It's a new center that we've set up. It's something I wanted to take you through right before we get to our new studio where we'll be talking to our next guest. But this is just something special that I wanted to take you through as we start our new series here at our new center at Viman Nagar. So enjoy this week's episode. Okay, for this week's episode, we've got a topic that's pretty much close to everyone's heart. It's everyone's favorite topic, probably. We're talking about food. We're talking about nutrition. And today I've got a returning guest. We've got someone talking about nutrition. We've got our head nutritionist, Richa Shukla. Richa, thank you so much for being here again.
Thank you so much for inviting me.
Absolutely.
My pleasure.
It's well, let me start by saying it's one of the, when we had this topic a little while ago, it's one of the biggest topics that people gave feedback on and wanted to hear more and more about. So that's why I thought it's important that we have another episode together again. And so that's why it's something that people wanted to hear more and more about. So you're back here and going to give us more and more information and thoughts about what nutrition is now, even compared to the last time we spoke. Because when we did that last time, we talked about all the big stuff, you know, macros, calories, protein, etc., etc. You know, all the stuff that people had a sense about, but, you know, didn't really have a good understanding. We helped them with that. We got a lot of good feedback. And nutrition is such a huge topic.
Huge.
So, you know, we thought that we'd go a little bit deeper into different aspects. And now with, you know, social media, which has just exploded, there's so much noise about what's, you know, what nutrition is and what nutrition isn't. So just starting with that, what are your thoughts in terms of why are people so confused about nutrition today? Because there's just so much noise out there. Where would you ask them to start?
Well, I think it's a perfect question to start with, because everybody is now talking about nutrition, and there is a lot of awareness which has been created around. And when we talk about awareness, it is information which is getting passed on. But is it really accurate, or, you know, it is the wisdom which is getting passed on through nutrition is important.
Yeah.
So what one needs to understand is every week you have a different information coming up on the media handles, etc.
Yeah, exactly.
And now being accessible to millions of people around, one week probably you will have people talking about proteins. Another week people will be talking about how carbohydrates should be avoided. And just the next week, the carbohydrates will be the essential macro that needs to be you know, taken up or to be included in your diet.
Yeah, correct.
So I really feel that information is there available, but the reliability and the accuracy is something which is missing, and the people are confused about what to follow and what not to follow.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think getting towards the experts in understanding and having a filter to understanding which expert is actually giving you a reliable information will make a lot of difference. there.
That's the other thing. So how would you recommend for people to decipher who's an expert and who's not an expert?
Well, frankly, on the media, everybody wants to be an expert there, and they showcase the same.
Right.
But if you have the credentials, the qualifications that is known, I think only then and then you should be following up somebody.
Yeah.
But it's quite difficult. On the media, I, however, feel that, you know, you should see what are the evidence-based information that is being passed on. Is it just on the basis of one topic which is just trending, or is it based on what is the evidence behind or the science behind that information?
Right,
I think
right.
that can probably give you some reliability about the expert.
Okay.
Otherwise, please come to us.
Yeah.
We are ready with open arms to give you all the information.
Absolutely. And as you said, qualified people like yourself. And now with, you know, as you said, there's so much seasonal stuff that comes. Last year it was protein, now it's carbohydrates. Now next year it might be fiber that people are talking about. And now, of course, as you said, social media is such a huge part of people's lives, and nutrition being a part of where that is getting pushed. You know, supplements is one that's exploded in that industry here in India, especially in the last 2-3 years, even the 1 year, in terms of the number of companies that are pushing various supplements. What are your overall thoughts about generally supplements? Are we getting too many of them? Are we getting too few? Keep it simple. Are they actually ones that we should focus on? I mean, we'll get to some of those questions, but I just thought that let's spend a little bit of time talking about supplements.
I think the last podcast also we kind of touched it, and we were wanting to talk
Yeah,
so much
exactly.
about it. So great we're speaking about it
Yeah.
now. I think what people are having a pharmacy of their own kind in their kitchens now. 10 to 15 supplements overall. I see people who come to me who are taking each and every supplement that is possible. But is it really the question which needs to actually come here is it needed for me?
Yeah.
What am I taking in? Is it something which is going to work for me, and for what? Is something that people don't know. Everything that is trending and that is giving you some information, people start.
Right.
But are we really checking if we need
Need it.
those?
So, like, what are
Are
the
there
most
any
common
requirements?
ones that people come to you with? Like, just to take your point further, what is the most common one that people come to you that you think that this is really just you don't need this?
Yeah, so basically, I think B12 supplements, vitamin D supplements are quite common, but then we see them very commonly having the deficiencies and
Deficiencies, yeah.
insufficiencies
Right,
in
yeah.
clients. However, the common supplement they will ask for is what is a protein powder.
Okay.
Give me a name of a protein powder, or give me a name of a supplement which is going to help me achieve my protein. So it's like
Okay.
more not like a supplement which
Yeah.
is supplementing your lifestyle,
Right.
but it's a lifestyle accessory now that people have taken it.
Yeah.
for. So you need to be balancing well what is needed for you, and then probably going ahead with the same.
Okay. So balancing the micronutrients and the macronutrients.
Micros
yeah.
and the macros, yes,
Right.
perfectly. And definitely, if you think about it, iron in case you have any iron deficiencies, but you should know your deficiencies.
Right.
Folate, maybe you need vitamin C, you need calcium supplements.
Okay.
Vitamin D and B12 are quite
But that's all
especially in-
deficiency. That's what you're saying. That's all once you've tested for
Yes,
deficiencies.
Yes.
So, like, for example, what about multivitamins that people just take every day? Is it just expensive urine?
Yes. I agree. And it is basically over the top that people just take it thinking that it is going to achieve them, everything else. We forget that these are supplements.
Yeah.
Most of the things should come through your diet itself, and they should help in only supplementing it. They are not required for a long-term basis because it can lead to toxicities. So
Yeah, of
definitely you need to be controlling and having some balance there, and probably having some breaks. And I would definitely say keep an expert in the loop
Of course.
whenever you're having them over the top.
So then perhaps the other side of the question is that, what are supplements that you think that people should be taking?
Well, in case, as Indians, if you talk about the Indian population that I know, there are researches and recent studies which are indicating 65% of the diet consists and comprises of carbohydrates.
Yep.
So where we are missing on is definitely proteins
Yeah.
and healthy fats. But I would still say that I would like to believe that I can achieve through the diet quite a bit. Only when I really feel that I'm not able to achieve it is when I will, probably recommend you a supplement in terms of protein.
Right.
And when you're actually talking about protein supplements, one thing should cross your mind. What is the source of food
Absolutely, yeah.
in that supplement? Does that supplement have sugars or fructose or any other things which you're not supposed to be taking in?
Absolutely
Look at the
correct.
sodium content of the supplement. So when you're actually even selecting a supplement, you need to be looking at so many various things.
You actually touch upon an incredibly great point that I'm really happy that you did, because particularly about protein powders, and I've been taking them for a while, and they get a bad name. Sometimes, it's harmful for you and etc. And it's why it's harmful for you, in my opinion, is actually a point that you've actually really, in my opinion, hit the nail on. And it's actually really not the protein or the whey in itself. Whey is great for you. It's a natural product or
Right.
natural ingredient. It's all the supplementary stuff, no pun intended, that goes into that protein powder, like you talked about, the artificial sugars or the, baking agents or whatever it is that's
Yeah.
sort of diluting it. So I'm really glad that you talked about that people
Yes.
should actually be looking at how pure are the ingredients in that supplement.
So absolutely, reading the composition or behind the label, we say it that way, that you should be reading what is the percentage of what. In fact, the first 3 or 4 main ingredients are going to be always mentioned in the descending manner in the ingredient list. which means these the supplement majorly comprises of these ingredients.
Okay, so that's what people should be seeing. What the first?
And absolutely, what are the other artificial sweeteners, like you rightly pointed out, or stabilizers or other things
Yeah,
which are
yeah.
being added, which probably you don't want, because nowadays you have really very good supplements in the market
Absolutely,
as well,
yeah. Very
which
clean.
have clean, exactly,
Yeah.
the word clean. They have clean in the sense processed well,
Hmm.
packaged well, to see that you're not getting all these things also.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't name any brands, but definitely there are in the market some good supplements. So not everything which is supplement is bad.
Yeah.
And we should be including depending on a person. So we cannot say that everybody can take anybody can take any supplement. It has to be individualized.
Of course, exactly.
So depending on if it's a pregnant woman, it's an athlete, or it's a individual who is working on in the gym, probably a very heavy form of exercises,
Yeah,
etc. Or somebody who has any renal ailments or neurological disorder, the supplements would change.
Yeah, absolutely correct. As you said, it's individual and stuff
It's
like that.
individualized, yes.
But I guess the easiest way to tell people is that if you see a long ingredients list, be a little bit careful.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. And also a lot of flavored things.
Yeah.
I am not in favor of a lot of flavors when it comes to supplement. However,
yeah.
if the client comes to you and demands, you have to offer.
Right.
So
Fair
you
enough.
give suggestions, yeah.
Okay. Well,
On that note, I would like to ask you,
Sure,
sir,
please, we're
because
having a
I
discussion.
know that you are somebody who's really into nutrition big time.
love it. You
Yes.
can tell from the
And
way we're
even
talking. We
exercises,
can
yes.
go on for hours if
I don't
if,
mind
if
it
everyone
at
around
all.
here allows us, then we can go on for
I
hours.
don't mind it. But what is your protein content in the diet that I know that you kind of have an accountability to it?
Yeah.
How much of proteins are you including, and are you including any supplements without the brand name?
Yeah, I've been supplementing now for a long time. I've probably been taking protein powders for the last 5-6 years at least. But again, in the last 2-3 years, particularly, I've been focusing on exactly the discussion we were just having about focusing on clean products. I've not really had any issues with protein powders that way, and I keep doing my health checks all the time. So I'm making sure all my markers and so forth are in place. So people who say that, protein powders are bad for you, it's like, yeah, they are bad for you if you're getting the wrong ones and taking them the wrong way, as you said. So from that standpoint, yeah, I've been taking, I do supplement with my protein
And how
powders,
much
but
proteins are you taking?
if I'm getting absolutely technical, right now I'm probably around 160 grams per day, 150 grams per
Excellent.
day, which is, I'd probably say about 30 or 40% of my calorie intake.
But then, yeah, wow. But then obviously you are taking that much proteins because you're working out that hard.
Yeah. I mean, I'm doing a fair amount of training in the gym and stuff
training
like that.
exercise.
So it's based on that. So for example, there's stages in life where I'm not working out so much, then I probably wouldn't have that much protein. But yeah, that's where I am right now.
And one more thing, how much hydration are you maintaining?
Oh,
Because
that's
a
really
very
important.
point to make.
Completely. And that really changed my lifestyle, honestly. Earlier, I probably wouldn't focus on that so much, but now it's like I'm very active about that. So I'm probably between 3 and 4 liters a day of water.
Okay, not bad, but I think you're good. But 4 liters and above is going to be better.
Yeah,
Yeah.
even more.
Even
It's
more.
like because I go to the bathroom a lot. So it's a problem.
Right. Because one important point that you mentioned is when you're including anything which is slightly higher in dosage, keep checking your labs.
Yeah, exactly.
Every
That's why
6
that's
monthly
why it's very important for
to
me.
see you're at the right track. And hydration really helps a lot, because then you're not like having a lot of toxins which can be
Exactly.
probably released in the
Yeah,
body. So
yeah.
you're out of that. It's out of your system as well.
Yeah,
So
absolutely. So
important.
it's I never self-medicate.
Oh, yeah.
Even with supplements, people think that you can just take medication. No, not. I mean, you can just take supplements by yourself. But even the supplements that I take, I always run those by my doctors and nutritionists like yourself. So it's like I always run it by everyone, which is perhaps something that people should be aware of. That supplements
That's
is
a very
even-
important message that has to pass on. That
Yeah.
people should not be self-medicating or using supplements on their own, just looking at the social media handles.
Yeah, exactly.
Or looking at all these advertisements which are around, but have to realize and have to take an expert guidance.
Yeah, absolutely. Because sometimes, supplements people think are not medicine, so we can just take them anyway.
Yes.
So again, that has to be regulated. But let's shift gears a little bit to a different side. We talked about supplements, which is exploded in social media. The other thing that's, big wave in medicine is, things like GLP drugs, which are, I mean, they've been around for a long time, and obviously they've been tried and tested and so forth. Perhaps in India they've explored a little bit more now because patents are opening up, and so there are more and more local pharma companies that are coming up and making it more accessible for our public, which is great. What is your sort of current opinion on GLPs
Very mixed feeling.
because
However,
it's very interlinked to nutrition and eating. I mean, it's
Yeah,
pretty much what it
absolutely.
is.
I think it's a magic drug or a magic pill. I really feel that people who have been struggling to lose weight in the right way. Probably it helps there, or wherein there is a need for weight loss. Like many people,
Clinically,
yeah, clinically,
Yeah.
many people who are not able to exercise well or who have physical constraints of exercising, for them, losing weight is something which is important, and otherwise, it can have chronic ailments related to obesity.
yeah,
So for them, it is a boom which has come up. But having said that, I really feel that it should be supportive to the lifestyle modification. It
Yeah,
cannot go
exactly.
without the intervention, without lifestyle interventions.
exactly. So
Without
it's
making modifications.
exactly. So it's a magic pill, but it's not a magic pill by itself.
No,
By
it is
taking it,
not.
you're not suddenly going to be a
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
In fact, if you really don't follow a proper balanced diet or exercise well, or you don't have adequate sleep or manage your stress well, then if you're not managing all these things, even the pill won't be able to help you reach your goals.
Exactly, yeah.
And rather not able to maintain it later on. So definitely it has to go hand in hand. But I think it's really good that it is in the market for people who really want to achieve it for some reason. Like you said earlier, it is very subjective to who should be using those pills and who should be
Yeah,
the
yeah.
people. There is a set criteria.
It's clinically you need to be on
Clinically
it.
assessed,
I mean,
right.
there's also an aspect now of because it's become so accessible. People are taking it for the potentially wrong reasons, or not wrong reasons, but reasons that perhaps medically they don't qualify for.
Yeah, I agree. At the same time, we have to be very careful about the risks which can come along.
Absolutely, yeah.
So even those are important, whether it is the risks or the side effects, if you may say so. I don't know. But things like related to dehydration or gastric
Yeah.
issues which can come up with these drugs are something that one needs to be watchful about. So again, without an expert, nothing doing, of course. It's a pharmacological treatment. You will end up going to an endocrinologist or a
Yeah.
diabetologist, and only
Absolutely,
then
yeah.
will you go for it. But for people who have uncontrolled sugars, geriatric population, or probably a population wherein they don't are able to exercise and have to control it, it's a great drug.
Okay. As you said, yeah, it has to be taken in the right context, under the right medical supervision, and for the right medical reasons.
But this is about the drug.
Yeah.
But even the drug, along with the diet, what could be the diet modifications that one needs to know is important.
Yeah.
Because for me, what I would like to do is I would like to add proteins in every meal of the
Right,
person who
absolutely,
is
yeah.
on GLP-1 RA drugs. I would definitely want to add
Yeah,
some
because muscle
proteins
loss
in
is
there.
a major problem
Exactly.
there.
Muscle loss is a major thing. So like we were discussing the other day also, sir, if you remember, fat loss. Whenever we talk about weight loss, it is fat loss
Yeah,
that
yeah.
obviously
Everyone wants, yeah.
everybody is looking for. But with every 3 kgs weight loss, you will also have 1 kg of muscle loss, which is
Yeah.
going to happen. And to avoid that, it is not possible.
Yeah, which
It
is
going to
worse,
happen
and it
naturally.
gets exponentially worse and worse for your lifestyle the older you get
Yeah.
to lose muscle.
And so to preserve that lean mass, definitely you need to add proteins in all your meals in your diet. It cannot be just that you are including it one meal and it's done.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to distribute it well, probably include a lot of hydration fluids and fiber in your diet. And you have to manage that you're exercising along with all
There
these
you go.
things.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I think these points to be
Good. Glad we
into
got
consideration.
good understanding of GLP from the nutrition side. Okay, so I'm going to get you with some quick rapid fire questions.
I thought
Yeah?
the last time I was stuck in many places, I remember.
That's okay. We'll get through. You're an expert, so we'll be
Sure,
fine.
Okay.
Most overrated supplement right now in your mind?
I think it is protein, if I may say so.
Overrated.
In a way, yes,
Okay.
sir, because I feel there are essential scientific evidence
Fair enough.
behind it. But people have forgotten the other nutrients which are also essential and have to be supplemented.
Yeah,
People
yeah.
are only talking about proteins. If
Yeah,
that was the
that
question
makes sense
intended
because
to.
absolutely. The other aspect also is that everyone is selling something as high protein, which actually isn't. So
Absolutely.
that's also
Even
the
if it has
overrated side.
20% protein in the supplement, we call it high.
Exactly.
So people are just talking and overrating it.
Okay. One supplement that actually deserves the hype.
I think again I would say protein. I'm sorry, but my question is going to
That's good,
coincide.
but that's good.
You put me on a spot there because as Indians, we are definitely deficient in protein, sir. And preserving the lean mass is very important if we have to look at even our overall metabolism. So definitely proteins is something we should be including and increasing in our diet, whether from the diet or add on supplements to it.
Yeah. Okay.
Was it supposed to be rapid fire?
Yeah, but that's okay. We can keep. It's good to give people its full context. Biggest red flag when someone gives nutrition advice online.
Biggest red flag.
We'd be
For
like,
what?
oh no, this is something you need to be aware of or
I
careful about.
I think it is about, one specific diet doesn't fit all. I'm pretty much against people following any kind of celebrity diets or, IF for that matter, intermittent fasting, keto, or one specific diet fits all. Like one size doesn't fit all.
Yeah.
So something like that, if people are following in trend, we need to be having a red flag there and not following it up.
Okay. Yeah.
We need to be individualizing. And in fact, this is an era of precision nutrition. So we have to talk
Personalized.
about personalized and precision nutrition.
Okay.
Having genomics in place and knowing yourself much better.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Make
Really,
good
you can
diets.
really dial into someone's
Yes.
wellness that way. Okay. Final question then. One habit that would improve most people's nutrition immediately.
One habit that would improve nutrition level.
No, just generally their nutrition lifestyle habits.
I think definitely the answer is all the four. It is going to be your balance in diet and nutrition, along with adequate sleep. Also, if I would say 7 hours of sleep is extremely
yeah.
important. You need your hormones in the right place, so you need to have proper sleep. You need to manage your stress levels well, and do not forget to exercise well.
Right.
If you're not doing all these things to manage your lifestyle well, you'll not be able to sustain it. At the end of it, sustainability. So instead of looking for shortcuts, we need to be looking at small things to be done consistently to improve our health. One writer, I would like to just quote a line.
Yeah.
Everybody likes, people are looking out for being thinner, but not healthier.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think we should look at being more healthier and fitter.
Lovely. I think that's a perfect way to end today's episode. We've covered so many things that I wanted to cover last time, so I'm glad we've done that today, and we've covered them pretty well, I think, hopefully in a way that people will be able to understand and cut through all the noise of social media, and I think we've done that. So thank you so much for helping us out and educating us more and more in the nutrition space. Thank you so much,
Thank
Richa.
you so much for having me here.
Thank you. Thank you all. And before you leave, do not forget to hit the like and subscribe button here at the bottom. Any comments you may have, we would love to hear as well. And we will see you all next week. Thank you.